Hello, welcome back to the second attempt at this tutorial. The first one failed because I switched back from Streamlabs to OBS, and OBS wants you to manually add sound sources, so I had no desktop sound and no microphone sound. So I have around 2 hours of footage with zero audio, and tutorial for the 6x6 funnel trapdoor, the new one, the improved one, the worse one because the wiring is just fucking nuts, and yeah. As you can see, I cut the front and back layers of the double piston extender sides and just glued them onto the double piston extender sides and made the fucky next to it no double piston extender redstone block storage from the 7x7 funnel, and yeah, here we are. So you want a 12 by 18 hole, 12, 18 door in the middle, 3 down, obviously, you know, the obvious stuff. And you want to make sure your input is actually in the southwest corner, so that's this one. So that's south, so that's the west, and this is your input corner. Directionality does not matter, so you could have this rectangle, you know, go out this way, but still this corner would need to be your input. And the reason for that is wireless wire, which is used to the maximum in this one and the next one. Only works in these two directions, those two being minus Z and plus X for whatever reason. Space wanted to look into it, still hasn't come back at me with it, because procrastination, I guess, or he doesn't love me. And yeah, that's why input needs to be right here, so it's technically, I don't even know what this is, like, it's not directional, it's just your input has to be here, so I guess it's directional, because the input can't be in the other direction. No. This is also like a quarter locational, and what I mean by that is there are 4 locational dusts in here, which all need to fail for it to break. So if only 1 or 2 or 3 of them fail, there's fixes for it. If all 4 of them break, I don't have a fix for it at the moment. I'm pretty sure you can fix it, but I never looked into it, and I don't give a fuck, because let's be honest, no one of you is going to build this. There are like 3 people who actually care about how this works, and yeah, this is just like me proving that the video I put out isn't like fake thing which works off command blocks or something, you know, like this. I'm going to show you how to build it so you know that I actually like a legit build, whatever. Because Synergy is down, and so no one can look at it on Synergy right now, and whatever. The classic item list, you know. 8 torches, 35 dust, 35 repeaters, stack 12 of sticky pistons, single normal. This could also be a sticky, but this is like your input piston, so like it doesn't matter what it is, it just needs to be a piston. So to save you the 1 slime ball, for the one idiot out there who's still like manually farming slimes in like slime chunks or swamps instead of building a slime farm, 10 redstone blocks, 22 comparators, the toggle input lever. There's a button design. You don't want to build the button design. Trust me on this one, I'll show it later. You do not want to build the button design. 22 droppers, 54 hoppers, 6 hooks, 3 wires, 8 iron or gold plates, and 2 wood plates. That's very important. No stone plates, 2 wood, 8 iron or gold. 8 targets, 6 composters, a stack and a bit of building blocks, usual color coding, 2 salt sand, and 4 like slabs, glass, stairs, whatever. 72 door frame blocks. Some of these need to be powerable, while some of these obviously need to be pushable, and yeah. No redstone blocks, fuck you. Mine cards, you know, like what, 16 chest cards for whatever, no hoppers, no chests for these one, because they can't interfere, they should not interfere with item loops. And then 4 boats, because boats are getting more useful like every time I build a thing. Like, it's insane how much you can cheat with them. Pretty much just using them to cheat my way through, like, from this piston to this plate through like 3 blocks. And then, you know, like, what, 38 items and like 4 shovels, just to make sure. These actually need to be unstackable. These don't matter at all. Like, as long as Most of these are the exact same items, so as long as you you have these items down here, and technically these could be different ones, but they need to boil down to 5 different kinds of items, so all of them can fit simultaneously into this one hopper, and none of them would get stuck in this one. But honestly, if you fuck that up, you do that on purpose to piss me off, and I'm not talking to you again. You know exactly who you are in the comments. Well, you don't know who you are in the comments because you can't comment under my videos anymore. Yeah. So with that being said, the first thing you want to do is grab yourself 1,200 something powered rails and build an update suppressor. Yay, because as you can see down here, we have floating. Well, there's a barrier under it, but it works without the barrier. So we have like in these 3 blocks, we have floating pressure plates, and these are completely stable. You know, you can do pretty much anything you want with them. You can block update them. You can power them. You can even run signals under them, as long as there's like a repeater under them, you know. So as long as the block under them doesn't like physically change into an illegal block state, so I could even like place something right here, but as soon as I break it, obviously it's gone. Yeah, you want like 6 floating pressure plates right here, so go ahead and look up how to do that. I can't do it I would do it in the tutorial in this video right here. The issue is, I've been told that changes in 1.19 onwards, because something isn't recursive anymore, some bullshit. Space said it's still possible after 1.19, so let's just trust Space here, and yeah. So for the current versions, you build like a giant rail ocean, and that like overloads the tick, and then it flushes, or like it just skips ahead of all the still to be processed block updates, and then it just skips the pressure plate updating, so the pressure plate never breaks. Yeah. You want you want iron or gold in these 2 spots, and you want your wood plates in these 2 spots. That's very important. So if we just do this and then stand like right. I guess we can do set air, break all of these, and then do undo. There we go, we've simulated building all of that shit. So now we have floating pressure plates and are happy with it. The reason you want to do this first is because a block update suppressor, or like a tick overloader thing with the rail ocean, is big as fuck, and yeah. Like, your rails would need to run parallel to the blocks under the plates. So your rails would go like here somewhere. Also, I have a rough outline, basic surface level understanding of how this works, and I'm nowhere near qualified enough to actually explain how this works to you. So look up update suppression, go annoy Space on how to do floating rails in your desired version, and don't annoy me with it. Okay, perfect, good. Moving on to the input. So you want to come to your previously mentioned southwest corner, and your input is that block in the floor. So before anyone fucks around with, and that's not part of the volume, you're cheating, the input is this piston. You just can't place a lever next to it, so that's the only reason why I do this. You know, there's no difference if you put a torch or a block, because let's face it, this is pretty much just this. So, lever. This is our input, and our actual input is this burnout. But not only this burnout, it's also this burnout, because we need to power these simultaneously in the same game tick. And the way we do that is we just abuse the ever-loving shit out of wireless wire. So, you see, me placing this hook right here updates that burnout. And me placing a wire right here updates both of them. And putting something in that wire also updates both of them, even though there is nothing here. And picking it up also updates both of them, you know. So, no idea why this works. Space wanted to look into it, never did, or at least never told me what he found. So, fuck you, Space. No, just kidding, I love you. No homo. Yeah, so we want to get started with this block being salt sand, actually. So what we have are two cards right here. One of them goes this way, and one of them goes this way. Drop this down and push a soul sand in from above, and place another block right here, which will be a dropper later. And then you want to actually push this card in against the dropper, and then just let this one drop down and push that one down, like like so. And now we can replace our hook on that block right there, and our wire and our burnout and our brown wool on top of the burnout. And now what we have is a way to power that. So as soon as we fire this piston, both of the burnouts will fire in the same game tick, because the wire updates the both hooks, then both hooks updates both torches, and then, you know, torch happens. And then if we unpower this, nothing happens, because for some reason, which I never understood and no one explained to me, space, if we place a block right there, now it works. So it's one of those weird, it's like with the zero ticking cards when they're already clipped into something, needing a chest to bounce off of for some reason. The chest, this card somehow bounces off of this block, and now we have a toggle, so we power it and then we unpower it, and having it permanently in here, which is another reason why we don't, why you don't want me to explain to you how to build the button, is, well, because we have it stuck in the wire at all time. We are now on a 10 game tick, 5 redstone tick cycle of this wire checking for going off. So any plates connected within the wiring we won't have to worry about plate inconsistencies in the thing, because the wire already like syncs up all the other plates to the wire, and the wire is the one being inconsistent. So the inconsistency lies between lever and wire, and not between plates later down the line, when it's actually important. So great. I probably went over that way too quickly, but again, this is the second time and I'm kind of pissed. And honestly, like, the noobs aren't watching this. If the noobs aren't watching it, just don't listen to me and build what I'm building. The people who want to know how it works, you probably are able to follow along. Hopefully, I think. Yeah. So back to this. We have 3 hoppers and 1 sideways right here. And then we have just 3 in like a triangle, like L shape, going over like so. It is way too late at night. I should not be doing a second attempt right now, but whatever. So this is our lime item loop. This is the only one with our mandatory unstackable items, because this comparator goes into this block, into these 3 dust, into this comparator. So we need a single string for 3, which means we need a shovel, you know. Yeah. Same thing over here. We have this triangle, and then dust, comparator. There we go. We have this right here, 4 ticks going outwards, and then in here we have 1 dust, 1 block, very important. And then we have a 1 tick and 1 2 tick. Now this right here is comparable to the orange circuit on the previous one. Like on the previous 4x4, 6x6 funnel trapdoor. So what this circuit does is 1 tick the front of the triple, and then insert the redstone block back into it. So if we give this a 4 tick, which is pretty much just us firing this, you see there, we 1 tick these into position and then re-extend these into here. That's all lime does. And that's also like part of the beginning of the closing, which didn't work because we didn't place this minecart in, so obviously the item wasn't there to do anything. These are just two normal, like, quote-unquote, two normal chest cards, nothing special, just drop them in, and there we go. The reason why this didn't fire is because the burner didn't have time to reset, so yeah. Yeah, let's just do this for now and move on to yellow. Because, oh well, pretty much the rest of the order. Because to build yellow we need to build gray, and to build gray we need to finish brown, and when we're there we pretty much only need to place like 2 blocks and then we're done. So, yeah. Yellow is once again the rest of the turbo boost extender, which means powering these blocks the moment these try to extend, so that we get to this position instead of, well, instead of this. So, yeah. To build yellow, we need to build this tutorial will be a giant mess. It was a giant mess the first time I recorded this, because there's just no way to explain it. There's pretty much nothing going on, but the little bit of redstone that is going on is just all over the place. So, let's just do it, I guess. For convenience, you want to build the boat cart right now. So we have sticky pistons right here. Why is that a hole? You have two things right here. Was that a hole the entire time? I might want to restart the entire tutorial just because of that hole. You want to place composters right here, and then run a boat cart into these blocks. So you want a boat cart in these spots. And a block right there. So the reason for that is the boat is like 1.375 or something wide, and putting it into a cart perfectly centers it on this axis. So breaking the cart now and pushing it out of the wall will allow us to push and pull it with the composter, so it's barely inside the composter far enough to actually be pulled out. But on the other side, it's far enough out to power the plate. So this is powered. So what we just did is fire a plate 3 blocks away through other blocks. And yeah, there's also a block right here. So the boat actually never leaves these blocks. So that's why this won't cause any issues. But that kind of means that this block right here can't be a block, which caused so many problems on the item. But yeah, so we pretty much have this again. Want a boat cart just to center the boat. You could also push it against a chorus plant. Against a chorus flower, and that's like the only block with the hitbox perfect enough to do this, I think. Break the cart and then push the boat out of the wall, because otherwise it will get stuck on the wall, specifically this wall block. So there we go. Ignore the repeater, that just breaks automatically. Yeah. Now that those are in place, we can actually start with the thing I wanted to build. It's just that the thing I wanted to build is on top of this, so we'd have to break it as soon as we want to build this. So yeah, master hopper circuit time. Up, up, over, up. Those are our stations. And the way they're connected is, well, this one gets entered from here. That one gets entered from under the comparator. This one gets entered from above, the one from the side, obviously, and then this one is just a simple downwards. This dropper box took me 40 hours to work on, and I think I went through almost every single possible combination of blocks in this volume. I was this close to giving up. And the solution at the end was a single target right here. A single target. I experimented with fucking hopper minecart item sorters and like triple crossing circuits with this hopper line and shit. And the solution is a fucking target. Like, bro. Yeah. So you want this, you want this. You got the light version of the rant. In the first take it was way longer. So we want 3 cards. One goes here, replace the hopper. One just sits there. And the other one needs a diagonal rail clip into the repeater. And then on the input one, you obviously need to push the input piston back down into place. Because why not? Oh, also I experimented with a quadruple clipped minecart. So in one of the versions I experimented with, it was this. I kid you not, it was this. It's a minecart clipped into a hopper, a dropper, a repeater, and a piston at the same time. I had to invent a way to get this clip done. If anyone wants to do this clip in the future, hit me up. I know how to do this. Like, I was this close to unironically going insane. Because like 40 hours on the same item loop in like what, 4 days? Like, Sadly this didn't make it into the final thing, so yeah, sad. Yeah, just connect that to the burnout. And we also read the middle one out into a vortex, obviously, into our block in the wall, and then we have our dust right here with 2 blocks with that. So this does like multiple things already, even though it's just a fucking comparator in the dust. So when the burnout happens, these 8 items, 8, are transported up here. The torch will pulse 8 times, so what that means is on the first, like after 8 times, there are 7 items in this hopper and 1 item stuck in the middle. And the item stuck in the middle is powering this comparator, this dust, this block, this hopper, that prevents those 7 items from actually flowing out. And that's how we get the, not T flip-flop, but the on-off pulse. So on the first time we fire it, it turns on because it holds itself on. The second time it goes off because the last item leaves, it unlocks this hopper. We wait for all 8 items to flow out, which is the reason why there's like 10 seconds of nothing happening on the opening. All items flow out, all go into this one. The single refire item from this one will have made its way down here. And then when we refire the burnout, the single item will pass through here, give a 2-tick pulse to this, which does the retraction of this one, and it will do like a 4-tick pulse to yellow because there's a 4-tick repeater in yellow, and that's how we get the pulse. And then all of these 8 items will be, because remember the burnout actually gives 8 pulses, so the 8 items from this will make its way up through this, down here, this, into this, back down into the starting position. Fuck. Yeah. Also, obviously, this just does the 3 singles, and yeah. We have we have 4 doubles and 4 singles on here, obviously, and yeah, for yellow. For yellow, you want a slab right here with reading it outwards, because well, we can't have kind of this dust lock this hopper, and well, we just can't have it. Again, in those 40 hours, I experimented with everything. I had a hopper right here. I had a hopper chain going back into there, which would then go into a minecart, into a minecart clipped inside this, sitting on like a trapdoor, not trapdoor, but you know, on like a flower pot or something, to minecart chain flow back into this hopper from there. Like I experimented, like I literally tried almost everything you could do here. Probably everything, not just almost, but like everything. Almost, like, you know, I went insane, what I'm trying to say. Push a block in here so the comparator can obviously read it through the thing. The reason we can't have a comparator right here into a repeater or something is because yellow is tick perfect. It's timed down to the tick, so that when this, so that when this extends, this fully extends instead of this, you know, because it would actually look a lot more like this, because it doesn't actually get an update from the repeater. So to prevent that from happening, we have 2 game ticks where we can power these, and obviously repeater being 2 game ticks, meaning that a single repeater in here would fuck everything up. So that goes into here, which is also conveniently the block which but powers the double position extender right here. Down into a Fortic, into a Dust, which is cut off, and then into our 2 targets. This one is to power this single mainly, as well as conveniently powering the back of this double position extender and butting its way through there to this double position extender. This is the, well, not abrogate, but like the retraction of this double, obviously, as well. And then this target is the solution to the item loop problem. The main problem being that these, the 8 items from here, so these 8 items which make their way on the opening, on the first fire, all of these 8 items are in here. And on the refire, if we were to refire it with no locking mechanism, the 8 items would make its way through to this one again to shoot like 1 or 2 items back into here, which breaks everything completely, obviously. So we need to slow down the loop or artificially extend it by like another 5 hoppers, which there just isn't room. So yeah, target does the job. Took me way too long to figure out. I fucking hate this target. And yeah. And then last but not least, we have a redstone block right here, a 3 tick this way, and a block with a piston with a composter right here, which has a minecart, obviously is pushed over into a fence. It's very important that this is pushed into the fence and not actually like with the fence being here and not like the fence being there and it being ran in from here, because those actually have a different game tick delay to them, which I will demonstrate as soon as I've built this. Why are you? Yeah, okay. There we go. And then this just goes into our last pressure plates right there. So what do I mean by this? So if we come over here and place our and down and push these down. So what do we have here? We have one card which is further out than the other. So it only makes sense that these 2 are not firing simultaneously. Fuck you. Okay, so it's this one out a bit more. There we go. So as you can see, this one is stuck out way more than this one. So that plate actually fires slightly earlier. So this is like a 1 game tick delay. And again, this shit is timed down to the game tick. So this needs to be, so you need to make sure that it's pushed into this fence right here from the left. So yeah. This is actually the trick which saved the 6x6 cave from working, like not working, I guess. Yeah. This is the closing done, if we assume this is right here, you know. Let's just build it, I guess. So we have our up, outwards, another up. This one goes from here. This one goes from here. That's just, you know, input from above and from the side, and then this one is just like this, and then we're done. This one powers itself as well as this and this for the singles and the double, I guess. And then we have our couple of cards. This one requires the diagonal rail clip because there's also a 1-tick repeater. And this, and this. That one just sits right there. This one and this one require fences. So there and there. This one goes over there. This one goes into there. You drop down, replace the thing. You drop down, break the rail. There's obviously no input piston right here. Yeah, we have 8 in here, and we have 1 dark blue right there. And then we continue with yellow because it should be that one. This, we have our 1 slab right here, going into a 4-tick, into a dust, cut it off, 2 targets, and we are done. The closing works now. And the opening does work except for the abagate and the refire. So if we just close it after obviously fixing these, so grab these, and there we go. So the closing works if we do this. There we go, closing works. And then for the, well, I won't do the opening now. Should the closing fail, so should these doubles be like this? You want to, that's the border locational thing I mentioned, you want to place a target right there. This is completely dependent on whether that's completely dependent whether this dust updates this piston first or this piston first. So in this case we get a full extension, but if we stack this like 10 times, one of these will work. So one of these will 0-tick the back piston. Oh, come on, one of you will. Oh, okay, fuck you. Pretty much the idea is, yeah, that one. So this one could pretty much, well, it could 0-tick pretty much. And if that happens, the thing breaks, so you need to place a target to manually hard power it at the end. I could also place target right here, I think, but that breaks it, but whatever. So the next thing on the list is the classic abagate. So when the retraction happens, these sideways pistons actually pull out the redstone block. Easiest thing right here, we just put 2 4-ticks into this convenient exposed dust, because the guy who made this was very smart. And over here we just run a 3-tick into a drop hopper with any item in it, into a 4-tick. There we go. 4-tick. There we go. That's the abagate, which will pull out the redstone block, and then we need the refire, which at that point is just refiring the burnout. So what the issue is, this can't clock endlessly, obviously. So we need a falling edge, which only works if it gets a signal longer than 4 ticks. Because remember, this sends out a 4-tick on the refire, and we only want it to trigger off of a 5-tick or higher. So the way we do that is the dark blue circuit, which doesn't have a single dark blue wool in it, so it's just a comparator locking itself for 9 ticks, and that's obviously how we prevent a 4 tick from actually doing anything. And then this piston will just pull back this redstone block and update the dust. The dust will power the piston through itself. This will usually clock endlessly, but the burnout makes it like stable into a 1 tick. So now this entire half works. And I didn't explain any of it because there is just like I can't demonstrate any of these circuits independently besides Lime because it's just that complicated. It didn't work for some reason, probably because I fucked up the items or something, because this should have worked. Okay, you are there. Get in there. And you are also there. Also get in there. You are a 4 into a 3. You are a 3. You're a 4 into a 3 into a 4. You're a 2 4s. Yeah, this should have worked, except it didn't, and it also didn't on the previous take, so I just assume it's based on some weird item stuff. And we're going to fire it again and see if that fixed it. So you see the closing works, and then the opening. See, there it works. The reason why one of these is slightly faster than the other is because this piston doesn't actually have the same delay as this dropper box, but this is just the best estimate, like the closest I could get. Because when turning on, this has like a 2 game tick delay, and then this has also a 2 game tick delay, but when turning off on the pulse, this one has like the full 8 game ticks or 7 countdown lock of the hopper. Meanwhile, this just turns off instantly, meaning that this actually gets a 4, this turns off for fuck's, stuff. Yeah. And the refire going through light blue goes into this dust, which goes into the comparator, which goes into this dust, which, oh hey, fires the boat piston again, which does this again. And because there's a 2 tick coming through here, we go from this, we go to this, and then we fire the plate again, and then that's the side's done. So again, sorry, this is a complete mess. There's just there is no better way to explain this, and yeah, we're going to build the exact same thing again. The exact same thing again. Because all 4 corners are identical, besides for this asymmetric shit in the middle, and both halves are the same except for these plates. So yeah, let's speedrun this with some no copyright music. There won't be music, I'll just speedrun it, I guess. So we have the 2 burnouts. We have our 2 droppers. Remember, there are 4 hoppers in the bottom layer, and then there are 3 hoppers in the top layer. This one has our shovels. This one goes from there. We have our lime, which is comparator block 1 tick dust, or comparator block 2 tick block. The reason why this is a 2 tick and this is a 1 tick, by the way, is if you remember orange from the previous 6x6 funnel, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, we want a 4 tick on the back, so the 1 ticking circuit for this stuff actually works. We need a 4 tick. We need a 4 tick. However, this drop hopper only gives out a 3.5 tick. So we artificially extend it by 1 tick, and that's how we get a 4 tick. Lol. The reason why these are comparators is because this comparator and this repeater are fired simultaneously or like scheduled simultaneously. So when this comparator activates, it depending on the direction, so this would be directional. If it's facing X, which it currently is, the first thing it would do is update the block. Okay, it doesn't matter. And then the next thing it would do is update the repeater behind it, or like itself and then the repeater behind it. It updates the repeater behind it. Okay, so this repeater gets scheduled first, and it will, in the next, like in the second next game tick, it will be the first thing to actually like fire. And then the comparator would update the dust, and then the dust would be like blah, 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 locational shit. Oh hey, there's a repeater here. Let's fire this one. So in the X direction, which is that one, we get this one turning off first, on first, and this one turning on second in the same tick. And if we are in the Z direction, which we aren't currently, but that way I guess. If we were in the Z direction, what would happen is the comparator would once again fire the block and then fire whatever is on the minus X and then the plus X. So eventually it will, like the first thing it will hit is this dust. And this dust will once again be locational. So this dust could decide to either update the block or this 4-tick repeater, which would then update this 1-tick repeater, which is what we need. We need this to be on first. However, the dust could also be a fucking asshole and decide to update this dust first, which I guess is like a less chance because there's 2 ways to get to this one, but only 1 way to get to that one. So like a 2/3 chance this doesn't work, whatever. A 2/3 chance this does work, but 1/3, whatever. But if it does decide to update this dust, and this dust will have to update this one, and this one will have to update this one, then this one will turn on before that one, breaking the whole thing. So this needs to be a comparator just for that scenario in the Z direction. Because then, even if this dust is powering this, and this is powering that, and this is powering that, and this is scheduled for the second next tick, I guess, and then this repeater is scheduled for the second next tick, I guess, repeaters always happen before comparators, which is the reason why this 0-tick generator works. So the first thing that happens is the repeater turns on and then powers this thing, and then this one powers the piston doing the thing with the 0-tick. So if we were to just do this, like this doesn't work and this works all of a sudden. So you can see this is now locational. And this is pretty much exactly what we're dealing with here. And we make it consistent by just placing a comparator. So it now works from no matter where we fired. So that's the reason why these 4 are random comparators. There's a reason behind this. Trust me, the person who made this is very smart. And yeah. Don't forget the minecarts so that we can place them later, I guess. We could also place them now. To connect the loops. And yeah, now on to the fun shit. But first we need our cauldron and the cauldrons. We need our composter cards, so dark gray, block, like so. The reason it's a boat card is just to center the card on the axis. I think I said that before, but at this point I don't remember what I said this take and what I said in the previous take. So this could also be pushed against like a chorus fruit, and that would also be the correct depth, but like this is obviously a lot easier. So this again, this also, it being a boat card conveniently forces the boat to follow the minecart, so it forces the boat to go into the repeater, the comparator, the double blocks, and the composter, and then we don't have to 0-tick any of those in. And yeah. There we go. And this also goes through there. Perfect. So, friendly reminder, these blocks need to be air or something with like a hitbox smaller than what we currently like have right here. So you could place an upper edge trapdoor or like a lower edge repeater or like a flower pot or fence. Just not a fence because that, and then this would need to be a transparent block where the like a non-solid block where non-full block hitbox block where the fence doesn't connect to because otherwise this block needs to not block the boat pretty much. Just don't be an idiot. Yeah. Well, then we build this dropper box. Remember, 3 up, well, 2 up, 1 over, and then another 1 up next to them. We have this one going this way, with this one going that way, and then this one just goes here under the comparator. This one, yes, this one says sideways, and then this one just goes over and down. We have into there, under the comparator, into there, comparator back. We have down on the dust, we have over there, and then we're done. So we need, once again, diagonal rail clip on this one tick, and this one tick, and then we place our, I don't know, this are a bunch of fences right there. Minecart, this one against that one, this one against that one just chills. Drop this down, break the rail, drop this down, replace the hopper, just break the rail. Place the hopper, break the diagonal rail. Yeah, those are those done. Remember, this has 8 items, and this has 8 items, and then there's like our random ass blue block, which could be anything in these. Connect them to brown. Read through a block into another block, locking itself, and also doing the singles. And also over here, remember, blocking the actual door frame, which is powerable. And then this and this, there we go. And then for yellow, we have our slabs right there and there. Only slabs of the door, actually, or stairs, or glass, or whatever. Block in the card. Blocking the door frame right there. 4 tick out into a dust, cut it off. Remember, if your double twist extender fails, place a target right here or there. Why did I get rid of them? I need them. To lock the item loop and to actually power all the doubles in the thing, because there are 4 doubles, 4 singles. All of them have blocks in front of them, obviously. Our last 2 pressure plates are there. Choose one of them, doesn't matter. Well, the one with the block, I guess. Redstone block, 3 tick, block, not block, piston. Composter right there. With a minecart, remember to push it into the fence from this direction. Otherwise, that won't like be timed correctly. Or like there's a chance it's not timed correctly, depending on what block you use to align it with. And there we go, that's the closing done. And for the opening, we want our 4 tick, smart person design. And over here, we want our comparator 4 tick, 3 tick, 3 tick, dropper, hopper, combo. And then for the refire, which doesn't actually have any colored blocks in them, we want our self-locking comparator. I guess these 9 ticks could also, like, I guess this could be a 1 tick, but whatever, doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to like max out the opening, I guess you could set this to 1, but who gives a fuck, honestly? You need to wait for these 8 items to leave anyways, so there's like 10 seconds of downtime. I think these extra 0.3 seconds won't make a difference. Yeah. And now we just grab these back and everything should work. Now I say should because, like, obviously something will go wrong now. Like me forgetting to tell you where to actually connect the wireless wire to. So, pretty straightforward. We have this convenient block right here because we need to put the hook on the burnout block. And just this right here because it's the only place. Well, cool. Placing that hook also updates it, so we just broke half the door. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, so there's a wire in this last random block, which isn't a trapdoor for some reason. And this side will just completely break now. So we are right here, and then we want to update these two simultaneously, which is easiestly, like, which the easiest way is just to do this. There you go, that's the closing, and now everything should be back in working order because I forgot to tell you how the wireless wire works. And then for the opening, everything works as well. Except it doesn't. What the fuck? Oops. Yeah, I know why. Because I manually placed these 2 wires. So these 2 wires had a different cycle. So these 2 wires send out their off updates at like independent times when we need them to be tick perfectly simultaneously, which once again failed. So give me like a speed up resetting montage. And that's why this input being a wire is important, so we don't run into pressure plates or tripwire inconsistencies down the road. So once again, turning this on, the closing works almost instantaneously because, well, the first green lime pulse powers the sticky piston pushing the boat into the wire. The wire sensors. Then on the opening, this boat is actually connected to the falling edge ABBA, so this burnout fires. We need to wait for all of these items to flow out, then wait for this like repeater chain, and then this boat leaves the wire, and then we need to wait for these items to flow out, and that's why the opening has like such long pause in it. I really don't like the aspect ratio of this. Like, this rectangle looks too 16:9, if you know what I mean. Like, the previous record was a lot more... Why? Subtract mode. It's not on subtract mode. So it actually fires on the thing when it's not supposed to fire. There you go. Now everything works. For those of you who are here for the tutorial, you can go leave now. And for those of you who are interested in why the fuck this works and why this is like, why are these three? Why is there a wooden one? Why did you say it's important that this is a wooden one? Well, okay, so let's start with first with the mystery of why there's like 3 plates and 1 wooden one, and then we go on to all the fun stuff with the 40-hour item loop, and then we shall just end the video abruptly and go. So the reason these are like this is if we wouldn't have this one right here and this one right there. The wood one doesn't matter. This one could also be wood. So if we were to fire it like this with just the mirror image, just 1 plate, you know, this is the job. What will end up happening is if we just look at these 2 pistons right here. So this one refires. And then the left one refires. However, now the right one didn't actually grab the thing because this one powered this one for too long. So we are pretty much in the situation where we have this, obviously, this and this. So we are in the situation like so, where the left one, where the input side, you know, both of these on. This one turns off. This one turns off. We are in this situation, obviously, because these were powered. Then this one grabs both, and this one from the plate happens. And then the same thing happens on the other side. So this one happens, and then this one happens. So we push this shit out again. So what we need to do is make sure that, well, this one can happen freely, but then this dust cannot update this piston. So either we do it while this is happening, or we yeah, pretty much that. Or we hold on this one. So when we're in this state, we hold on this one with the extra plate right here. And when, you know, this one turns off, this one turns off, this one refires, this one. This one turns on, and then this, you know. That's why that's there. That's why there's the 3rd plate. And the reason that, let me just, and the reason why there's wood and iron as an important difference is because wood is on a 20 game tick cycle, whereas iron is on a 10 tick cycle, or 5 redstone ticks, 10 redstone ticks, you know. So what ends up happening is in one orientation we have this and this. So I guess first I should show this. So if we step on these and off of them again, the iron one will turn off way before the wood one, pretty much twice as fast. So if you time it out, there should be exactly half a second between these two. And yeah, that's consistent. That's always the case. If we stand on this long enough, both of them will turn off simultaneously. So what happens is we are on a cycle, right? So every 5 game ticks, the iron plate will try to turn off, and every 10 game tick, every 10 redstone ticks, the wood one will try to turn off. So what ends up happening is that that iron and wood get powered. And 5 redstone ticks, 10 game ticks later, the iron plate will try to turn off. And then 5 redstone ticks, 10 game ticks later, again this one will turn off, but together, and this one will also try. So depending on how lucky we are, which is again the reason why you don't want me to show you how to build the button, because the button runs into plate inconsistency issues, which are exactly this, except it's not actually this, it's actually these ones being the problem in that case. Well, they're not really the problem. It's complicated, trust me on that one. So, because this is actually getting refired twice, so it's not actually directly connected to the inputs, it's connected to the refire, which is... so these can either turn off simultaneously, or the wood one takes like an extra 5 ticks. What? 5 ticks. So if we just step on them quickly and unpower them, pretty much, if we power them for less than 5 redstone ticks, 10 game ticks, the iron plate will turn off 10 ticks before the wooden one. And what this allows us is to cheat a double piston extender circuit. So what we have here is exactly the same as this if this 4-tick repeater was a 5-6 tick, because this is 1, right? So this is pretty much exactly this. Well, these two are pretty much identical. So we have our, well, let's just do it this way. These are completely identical. Not completely, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say they're identical, because like technically speaking, this would also be a on and 1 tick. So fuck. So we are also dealing with this, and this would need to be this. You know. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, on the falling edge, this is completely identical. When we are not on the cycle where both of these turn off simultaneously. So what we do here is we just jump on, and as you can see, that just does the double piston retraction. And I don't even need to do this, I guess. So this would have like the same effect, but then again, these don't turn on simultaneously. Stuff. This is completely the same. So what this allows me to do is have this in both directions. So for example, this and this, and we'll move this around. So in the one direction, which I don't actually know which one this is, doesn't matter. In one of these, the front one will permanently extend, which is good because well, that's exactly what we need, right? So because the front one is extended, which so we did this and then throw these. So because this is extended permanently, this one powering doesn't actually update this piston, right? Which is what I explained before. So that's how we prevent the other side from breaking. And in the other direction, which is well, this one, in the other direction, when we jump on these, this one being extended, well, permanent, like staying extended, also prevents this one from actually realizing that it should fire. And yeah, then of course I hit the wrong thing. So that was pretty much the worst explanation possible, but again, this is like second attempt. I'm already like twice as fast as on the previous take, and just there's just no good way to make a tutorial about this, because everything does everything, but like there's nothing, because like there are 16 blocks in every corner, or every corner is identical, so there are 16 blocks of wiring to talk about, and like stuff just happens. Moving on to cut circuits, I already mentioned that I hopefully already mentioned in this take that I went completely nuts and almost had a quadruple clipped card here with a dropper in the spot where there's air right now. Another cool thing was a different dark blue circuit, which I guess, this one. So what we have is this. So we have a fake double right here, and that fake double is pretty much that one. It's pretty much that redstone block thing right there. So we have a thing right there, and what we have here is a dropper hopper. I've had really that was a really cool discovery I made. So if we give this a 4-tick, this won't do shit. However, if we hard power this for more than 7 game ticks, I think this one will do the thing and the burnout will burn out. So the reason for that is obviously the hopper cooldown, because if the item has to work with the hopper cooldown, the hopper needs to cool it off, the hopper needs to do its cooldown before it pushes the item out. The 4 tick will turn off before this piston is here. However, if we wait for the cooldown to run out right here, or the lock timer or whatever it's called, the item will leave the hopper the moment this repeater turns off. Or like, I guess, like 2 scheduled ticks, like after it does the update around the block. When the repeater turns off, the items leaves, for simplification. Which means that this turns off. Pretty much the repeater and the comparator pretty much turn off at the same time, or try to turn off at the same time. The repeater obviously takes 4 redstone ticks, so 3 redstone ticks longer, but whatever. And that allows this to do the double piston retraction, whereas this doesn't. So that's a neat alternative circuit which I cut, and I already told you about the ludicrous hopper minecart item sorter in here. If not, I'll just cut it in. So yeah, if you didn't hear me talk about that again, then I probably mentioned it already. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is the button input, because initially this was powered by a boat cart, and the boat cart was sitting inside the block. And well, the boat cart was sitting inside the soul sand specifically. Like, the cart was inside the soul sand completely, maybe a bit in the comparator block as well. And then the boat would get button pushed into the wire and then snap back. And then that's that. So that runs into an interesting issue, that this block right here with the dust as a full hit blocks and would block the boat, because the boat would also be inside this wire and inside this line block, and it would push, you know. So this block right here would need to be something where a boat fits under when it's already sitting on a repeater. The repeater is the lowest stable hitbox we have. Carpets are technically 1 pixel lower, but carpets are unstable as fuck. So you can't have a floating. You can have a floating carpet if it's exactly the same update suppression way you looked up probably. But carpets will die as soon as you place a block update next to them, or like update the block next to them, I guess. So carpets are super unstable, can't have them anywhere pretty much. So they're almost like they are 99.9999% useless. A boat on a repeater, which is the lowest stable soul sand or cauldron or composter hitbox, whatever, is whatever height this is high, which is like what, barely under the 5th block pixel. So there are only 2 blocks in the game you can place which go over it. Well, there's a repeater there, but you know, there. One of them is the trapdoor, and you can there are probably more blocks which you can place stuff over it, but I'm talking about blocks which have a solid surface, so you can place a dust on top of it. Which again, we need dust right here. And yeah, the issue is this will just open, you know. So what you do with this is what I did in the TNT banana with TNT seeding, I think, which was the first time I used this shit. So you hard power this thing permanently and then manually close it, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. So this one, I'll just be there. So that runs into the issue that we can't have any redstone blocks around here, because this is a hopper which needs to be unlocked, this is a hopper which needs to be unlocked, and this right here is a block with a piston next to it, so we probably shouldn't place a redstone block there either. It also has dust on top. So the only other block in the game, I fucking kid you not, with the properties I need, is the extended piston head. As you can see, the boat fits under it, and we can place dust on top of it without it doing anything. And just to show you, you can have a floating thing right here, and just, you know, boat goes under it, can power in. So for around 20 hours, there was an unironical, extended separated piston head in this thing. Like, pretty sure that showing me the technical aspect of the game and telling me how the thing works and how we can break the rules of the game was a bad idea, because like, look at where we are. It's been like what, 2 years since I've started working on entities, and I'm already rivaling Arma in madness. Arma is overdoing it with turtles and witches and skeletons and wither skeletons and chickens and bees in minecarts and shit, but you know. Arma is going nuts with entity hitboxes, and I'm going mad with block hitboxes. And yeah, I think it was a mistake to introduce me to this world of Minecraft. The next tutorial, or like the next video you'll see from me, is the 6x6 cave trapdoor tutorial, and spoiler alert, there are floating tripwire hooks on the side of trapdoors, and a fucking tripwire hook on the side of a hopper. You're gonna have to wait and see for that. The hopper, if you touch the hopper, if you lock the hopper, the hook breaks, which was a huge issue to work around. And for the 3x3 TNT trapdoor, the normal one, I briefly experimented with a torch on the side of a hopper, because I needed a block here, which would then like read that way. The issue is it couldn't use a redstone block, because that would redirect a dust, obvious, that would redirect a dust, so I needed a cross. But, so I couldn't use a redstone block, but the only block to place the torch on was a hopper. So that also works with block suppression, and yeah, I'm just going mad with power. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. I know this tutorial was a mess. Like, I've tried to plan this out as good as I could, or as well as I could. There's just like, ironically, at the same time, there's nothing to talk about and there's everything to talk about, you know? But we have what? We have lime, which is just a 1-tick generator. And then we have yellow, which is like a tick precise extension of the pretty much hard pouring of these two blocks. And then we have an abagate and a refire. That's everything. That does everything. Like, what I can't talk about this for like 2 hours. Well, that's already been an hour and 20 minutes, but like, you know, there's not much to talk about. But at the same time, there's stuff like, why is that a comparator? Why is this a 2-tick? Why is this asymmetrical? What is this shit? You know? So like, on all 4 corners are the same, so there isn't even much to build. There's like what? There's like this 4x6 block to build, and there's nothing. And